We are all hooked up and ready. It is finally time to hit the road from our new home base for our very first RV trip. This is our Shakedown trip in our Alliance Delta 252 RL. Let's go. Welcome back to Miller's in Motion, and yes, you heard that right. We've been on cruises, we bought a house, we've done all kinds of crazy stuff. We used to full-time for about 3 years, and we recently bought a home base, so we are now officially weekend warriors or part-timers, and we've been waiting for a long time to get done with the move, take a cruise with some friends that we shot a video on a couple back, and last week we showed you how we're going to operate as far as the house and the rig and how we're going to actually packing ready for trips. But today we are going on that trip to one of our favorite places on planet Earth. It's our favorite campground, Twin Coves in Flower Mound on Lake Grapevine. If you're in the area, check it out. But we have to get there first, so let's get out of here. And we have made it here to Twin Coves, and I'm set up. So I'm gonna take you around real fast and just kind of show you how that went. I didn't record a lot of it simply because I needed just a minute of time to do it. So I love this site, and I will say the first thing out of the gates that feels different from full-time versus part-time is this feels like a mini vacation, whereas previously it always felt like you were working and you were there. So let's run around and I'll show you some stuff. We've been super spoiled in our RVs with getting some of the best night's sleep we've ever gotten. And now that we're only part-time RVers and we purchased a home, naturally for us, we wanted to make sure that we kept sleeping as well as we have in our RVs. So even though we moved into a house, we wanted to go back to where we got our mattress from, RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding.
And this time we splurged on the adjustable bases. Have you ever woken up on a rainy Saturday morning and just wanted to lounge in bed and watch TV? Now, this makes it a little bit more comfortable and you're not just laying flat to do that.
Plus for me, I don't have the best back in the world, and sometimes just propping 2, 3, 4, 12, whatever, pillows behind me doesn't exactly help support my back in any, so if I'm gonna sit up in bed, now I actually have the support of the mattress. So this time around, we actually chose to do the split king mattress because, shocker, we're very different people and have very different needs. I like a very firm mattress, so I did that on my side.
And I like to sleep in a cloud, basically. Now, I did the medium, but we both did the cloud pillow top on this, which has cooling technology in it, because while we're very different, we both sleep very warm, and this stuff is cool to the touch. We had it in our last one and loved it.
Speaking of the last one, this is not our only RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding. We obviously have the split king now in our house. Our guests that come to stay with us here, if they choose to not sleep in their RV and they want to sleep in the house, will also be sleeping on a firm king size version of this mattress with the cloud pillow top. And last but not least, in our brand new RV, guess what?
But wait, there's more.
We also have an RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding mattress in that RV. We weren't joking when we say we love these things.
We really do. So they have several different models with different kind of amenities, if you will, about it, and several sizes. Ask us, we have several of them. But they do, and some of those unique RV sizes too, so that's really important. But if you're still kind of hesitant, remember they do have that 120-night sleep trial and a limited lifetime warranty.
Also, all their mattresses are designed, assembled, and shipped from their factory in Arizona, where they have been making mattresses for over 25 years.
And don't forget, shipping is free to your front door.
In the US.
Important, I guess.
So if you're interested in getting a better night's sleep, whether it's in your house or your RV, check out rvmattress.com/Millers in Motion. You know what they get if they go that route as well?
30% off.
Regardless of what the website is giving you, which sometimes they do 30% off, like around President's Day, but like right now I think it's 25. Take the extra 5%.
Do it.
Also, if you're watching this on a TV, you can scan that QR code that's right down there on the screen to make it nice and easy. Thank you so much to rvmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding for sponsoring this video and being a longtime supporter of the channel. Now, back to whatever we were doing previously. So for the first time ever, for starters, my truck's not sticking out. Typically with the Valor, my truck would hang out to like over here, which by the way, we were actually in this site with the Valor on our Shakedown trip. So how crazy is that? That we're in the same spot with the same setup, minus the trailer obviously is different. But the interesting thing about here too is I think Lauren might actually be able to park here because like technically our site goes to that line right there. So we'll see when she gets here. I'm curious if she actually can. So as far as setup, nothing's really changed from what we had previously. We still have our blue water filtration stuff and then the water softener. I cleaned both of those up not long ago, so they are fresh and fresh, brand new filters, all that stuff. So literally not a drop of water will be on this coach without going through those filters. They're amazing. If you want to save a little bit of money, check out the link down below. We have our sewer hookup, which is pretty standardized. I am missing components. So we always use the Camco Rhino stuff. There's the Rhino Pro. I didn't care for the orange one as much. It was really good, but it was hard to kind of maneuver and work with. We always put a Volterra valve on, as you can see. So that all hooked up great. I'm missing my little 45-degree clear tube that I like. So that's normally there. And then also I want to try that Camco kind of the new sewer plug thing that they have. And then we also have the Power Watchdog, which again is exactly the same from the other side. So one thing that's different about this coach is that the hookup is actually here on the back. So one thing that's actually different about this coach is the electrical hookup is actually here on the back. Okay, so I want you to keep in mind where the pedestal is, where my slide is, and how far back it goes. And I'm going to show you what kind of happened. So as you can see, our stairs, I have some Camco blocks below them. So I was trying to get it to where Lauren could park, which means I had to be a certain distance back so she could stagger and get in. And if I pulled far forward, I essentially would have to pull a lot farther forward. Like the door would actually be closer to where, like just to the left of those stairs there, instead of back here. So in lieu of that, I just decided to kind of deal with it. But yeah, hooked up, it's pretty, the awning's out. The first time the awning's actually been out, which has been great. And something else I did new on this trailer, we did this on the Solitude, but not the Valor, because the Valor was so stable and big. But this isn't anywhere near as big or stable, so I went ahead and did those, I went ahead and did the BALX chocks again. Again, just they're not chocks. If you notice, I still have chocks. So all it does is help stabilize your axles so they don't move, like the suspension essentially, while you're inside the coach, how you kind of get that rocking and all that stuff. You still need to chalk your tires. It's a bad name. They need to call it like an X something else, but always use wheel chocks, especially on something this small. There's always a chance it could move. Them puppies are getting used to the new rig. How do you like it? Good. Mishka, do you like it? So in here, really everything did great. The coffee pot got a little crazy. I forgot to put the paper towel on the rack. It actually didn't move. It's so much different towing a travel trailer than a fifth wheel. It gets a little squirrelier than a fifth wheel does. A fifth wheel feels more stable, but I will tell you that it's so small, it's kind of handy just to have easy and good to go. We need to find some stuff. So like, I noticed that the propane wasn't really working, so I had to turn some stuff off, mess with the regulator a little bit. I don't know if that's a storage thing, but after I did that a couple times, I turned them off, I opened up the valves, I took the actual propane lines off, put them back on, it seemed to repressurize everything okay, and then it worked fine. I actually bled the lines for a little bit in the stove, so that was handy. So everything was working fine. I will say the AC, so this has the Furrion Cube, there it is. We tried that on our Valor and all three and loved it. This is the vented version. I don't like it as much, but it is putting off quite a bit of cold air quickly. So it's doing a good job. We were 87 degrees in the rig when I got here. We're down to 72 now. So, and then on the other side of the coach, it just has a more traditional air conditioner. So that got to 72 really fast and is just kind of chilling now. So yeah. All in all, the ACs are doing a pretty good job. It's about 87, 88 degrees here in Texas today, and I am taking full sun at the moment on that side of the coach, on the camp side of the coach. So, as far as like what we're gonna do tonight, so dinner is, well, Lauren's gonna pick something up on our way home from work. We're gonna ease into this. I will say, if you're doing a shakedown trip, ease into it. You don't have to dive head first into this thing. So, see you when Lauren gets home. Well, good morning. After Lauren got in last night, we ate pizza and crashed.
It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. So, but we have spent our first official night together in the RV. How did that go for you?
Great. No complaints.
Did anything stand out that worked or didn't work or anything like that?
The mattresses are, old trusty Brooklyn bedding, and so it's exactly what we expected. Yep, perfect. It didn't feel as small, like in the little cave in the bedroom. You know what I mean? So, because
it's the travel trailer, we're used to our beds being kind of out in the open,
right?
Because we've always had east to west, we have north and south, and there's closets next to us, and a little more enclosed. Yeah, you're right. It didn't. I think having the closets open. Are we going left or straight?
Let's go straight.
I think having the closets open right at the bottom helps quite a bit.
I do too, yeah.
Because you're able to put stuff on like a nightstand, so.
I really like that little flexible light by the bed. That worked well because it was not like in my face.
The reading light.
The little reading light. Good job.
The other thing too is, we're still getting used to ACs. We're used to the Cube that's in the living room, but the other one, and I think this is just because this is a much less expensive RV.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't seem to have an auto feature where it just kind of cuts on and off like the Coleman's did.
Yeah.
And our other ones, or the Cubes, well, they don't really cut off, but they tone way down.
Yeah.
The living room one does. So, all right, what's on the docket for today?
Well, we started a little early because Bailey got up at 5:22.
The dogs have a shakedown version of their trip too. They're trying to figure their crap out.
So she was ready to tackle the day a lot earlier than we were ready to tackle the day.
Yeah.
So today we're actually relaxing. Maybe we're going to go for a hike.
Yeah? You want to go check on Stella?
Yeah.
And RV-wise, we're still just kind of trying to dial everything in. So let's get this dog walking done with so we can go get some breakfast and coffee. All right, we just got back from taking the pups on a walk and sitting out and relaxing, enjoying that view and having some coffee. So now what we're going to do, we had a request from a previous video that we did here that from someone that was also here that said that we didn't showcase the trails as well as we should because they're amazing. So that's exactly what we're going to go do. We're going to go on a few mile hike here inside the park. So the cool thing about Twin Coves is it's not just the campground and they have cabins. They also have trails and obviously Lake Grapevine. So let's go hit up the trails and see what we can get into over there. All right, explain this trail because you did the research.
Well, that's a gross overestimation.
You picked it. Let me rephrase that.
This is called the Horseshoe Trail.
Is it a horseshoe?
You can make of it what you please, right? And so technically it's a down and back. Hold on just a sec. I'm going to trip and fall. It's a down and back. But it connects with another trail at one point that's a loop. And so you can go for like 10 miles if you really wanted to. But there are certain portions of it where you could also cross over. And so oftentimes we'll kind of go as far as we feel and then
look for the other trail.
Look for the other trail and then kind of come back.
Or just turn around.
Or just turn around, whatever. Anyways, and so it's pretty easy in that regard. It is very well marked at the entrance, but there are actually a couple little spots where people have kind of done other paths that get a little confusing. And so sometimes it's kind of hard to stay on the trail.
Side quest.
I ended up in somebody's backyard on my bike one time, and I was like, oh, how did I get here? But that's not saying a whole lot.
What's for dinner?
I'm directionally challenged. But anyways, so good trail, pretty views of the lake, too.
How many other trails are here?
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's some of them are mountain bike and walk. Some are just walk. Some are.
Right.
Are they all dog friendly, or some are dog friendly, or
I think
not?
they're all dog friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool trail, and it all kind of works around Grapevine Lake. Well, what does this one actually doesn't, but the rest of them do.
Yeah, some of them have some really neat terrain. Most of them are shaded for the most part, so it's nice during the warmer months. But yeah, good. They do get wet if you're out here. They do get pretty wet.
Yeah, they're
funny if you wonder what I'm looking at.
They're sand based, so if it just rained, not the greatest day. So it rained a couple days ago, so we'll see.
We shall see.
Okay, for a frame of reference, right down there is the trailhead start and finish. And out in front of us here is, you can see the campground way over there. So it's just a little paved walk. That's the wild card. Back into it. It's not a bad walk. It's like anything else. You're not parking right at the trailhead. So, okay, it's later in the day. We're getting ready to make dinner. Lauren's done her running around. And we have not talked about the importance of running your systems, all of them, all the way through. I will say, unless it's like 90 degrees outside, maybe bypass the heater. But first opportunity, when like maybe on the way out, run it for a little while. Make sure it works, because you're going to burn off some stuff. We learned that with the stove. We forgot. And I tried to start the stove, and this stove is very different than the rest of ours. So this is actually a traditional RV stove, and we've never had one. We've only ever had fancy big stoves. What was the one in the Solitude?
I don't know. It was like residential though.
Yeah.
It was.
It was a full-on Insignia.
Yeah.
But it was still a propane stove, but it was a full, like, legitimate big stove, and we could have done a lot. We did do a lot in that one. And then in our Valor, we had the Blackstone. That's not right. In our Valor, we had the Greystone, which is close to the same size, just a little bit different. But it was still big. So this little guy. So we're doing some baked potatoes, and that is all we're doing. If you can see them in there, in my reflection. Quick look, baked potatoes. So it's just adapting to all that stuff. And if you're not living in it, it keeps coming back to that same thing. If you're going to live in it, you look at this very differently. We're not. I think the longest trip we're talking about taking on the docket at the moment is almost a year from now, and that might be 2.5-ish weeks. So, that will start to push the boundaries, I think, of its usage, because of, like, we don't really have a good spot to put dirty clothes. There's also not a, washer and dryer on board, which is a first for us. So we'll actually have to go to a laundromat at some point during that, or a campground that has laundry.
Or friends.
Or friends, if we have friends in that area. Lawrence, Natalie, looking at y'all. So, just adapting and getting used to it. We have no idea what the evening's going to hold for us, but I know we're going to cook these baked potatoes. That's all we're really doing is like a little... I'm vegan now, by the way.
No, you are not. Okay, but I will say we also ran the water systems pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Like before we're using them for consumption. And so just kind of a note for that new stuff will have debris, glue, etc.
Previously, we would drink the water from our tap, but after we ran it through quite a bit, sanitized everything, and then from there used our blue water filtration stuff and water softener. So if I didn't have those, hard pass.
Right.
Bottled water for us. And we are doing that now. We did the big gallon sizes because we have a filtration system at the house, and so we're out of practice with the bottles. But because it's still such a new coach, we're going to wait a little bit. Let all that stuff kind of work its way out. So,
right.
Also, when you're doing your shakedown trip, it's not just a time to figure out what's working, what's not working, what's broken, how it works for you, but also it's a time to figure out, like, tank capacities. Like, how many showers can we actually take? You know, how long does a freshwater tank, which we're not doing that, but how long does something like that last you? We kind of know how long it lasts us in our other rigs, so I'm assuming it's a similar usage rate. It's just smaller tanks here. So because the tanks are smaller, I'm not 100% sure how long a gray tank or a black tank will last us. So we're testing that, and at the moment we're doing really well, but we've only been here for like 24 hours. So, and this is a shorter shakedown trip. When we take our first longer trip where we actually have to travel somewhere, that's not 30 minutes away. We'll see how that goes. So, okay. Dinner time. Good early morning. More shakedown fun. We experienced our first thunderstorm and reasonably strong winds. I can tell you, this RV in winds, like 40, 50-ish miles an hour is what my understanding is we went through, moves a lot more than a big heavy toy hauler Valor does. So, but overall the rig did okay with the rain and everything. It kind of woke us up a little earlier, about 5 a.m., give or take a little bit. With some storms, but at least we know we can handle it. One perk is that every RV we've ever had has had some sort of a event interior. I'm trying not to say a particular word. An interior event that should have stayed outside during a rainstorm. I don't want to jinx anything by saying you know what. This one has not, and that's the part that's probably going to jinx me. So. Besides getting woken up, how'd you do last night?
I'm not gonna lie, last night was a little rough. The TV came on
Randomly?
I'm not gonna say on its own. I know one of us pushed a button on the remote, but we were dead asleep and all of a sudden, bam, it's on.
It was on its own.
Okay.
So the remote was against the wall on my nightstand.
Okay.
Near nothing.
And then Bailey turned on the lights on the couch. So again, we get back to sleep and then bing, it's all kinds of light. And since we don't have any shades on the doors, as soon as the storm started to come through with the lightning, that was very awake as well. So.
Well, I'd say shades on the doors. So we'll do something, whether it's the little thin shades that Lippard makes that goes in there automatically, or the stick up kind. Also, we typically have something in the shower. Over that, so that would have been a thing too, and it was a thing too. So between that, and we also have had something in the vent as well. So there's a handful of things. We have a nice little handy list going.
I think we're going to unplug the lights on the couch because we keep turning them on.
Yeah, so these couches aren't electric. Well, okay, they're partially electric. They have a little USB charger and then the lights. But as far as to recline, it's just a lever system, which I thought I would bother me. Really? It really hasn't bothered me at all. So yeah, we'll probably unplug those just to prevent that, because there's not enough room in here for a dog bed, which is what I would say probably, and we knew we were going to get into that.
We did.
Con number one is because with the two pups, we always like for them to be comfortable, so they've just taken over the couch, which is fine. We don't mind so much. We'll just clean it a lot, and again, we're not living in it, so every once in a while is not too big of a deal. Just like every other RV we had, it gets hairy in here kind of quick and dirty kind of quick.
Because of the dogs, not because of us.
Well, unless we go on a hike and track crap in. So I will say that we don't have a Swiffer on here. Right. We do have one at the house, but we're using it at the house. So we need to rectify that one way or another.
Yep.
And I think that was on the radar even before we left for this trip. But it gets dirty in here a little faster than the other rigs, I would say, just because it's so much smaller. And I was looking at it. The total length of this trailer is not much shorter than the living portion of our fifth wheel toy hauler. Now, obviously, we had the toy hauler space in the back that we utilized as living space, but we didn't hang out there very often. The dogs went out there, their food was out there, my office was out there. So it was nice to have, and we had a lot more storage, but again, not living in it, we don't require that much storage.
And this has a surprising amount of storage, really.
Yeah.
Especially for not full-time.
Yeah, it does. It's awkward storage.
It is.
I will say that. Like, you had to work really hard to find somewhere to put the vacuum.
Yeah.
Which also needs some TLC. That vacuum we've had forever. Yeah. Okay, well. Today's packing up day, so we're going to relax a little bit more and then kind of go from there, because I'm not 100% sure what exactly it's going to entail. Checkout time here is noon, which seems really late, but we'll see what happens. All right, well, now that Lauren is gone, I am starting our process of the things I do to wrap up and kind of pick up and clean up, and one of those things is doing a dump. So especially since we're going to store it, I'm always going to do a little more thorough of one. So I started that process, and keep in mind when you're doing a shakedown trip, you want to look a little bit more diligently. You should always keep an eye on things, but I'm looking for a lot more because you never know. Sometimes something doesn't get tightened down all the way, that kind of stuff. So I'm doing the sewer dump, which I'm going to spare you from a lot of that. But one of the first things I noticed was our black tank flush did not have an O-ring in it because, well, water went everywhere. So I stole one from something else, and that one was a little bit... To get it out, I cracked it a little bit, so it's still not great. It's leaking, but nowhere near as much. So you can see, if I can get my shadow out of the way, you can see how it's just dripping a little bit there. So it's a lot better. It was spraying everywhere. You can kind of see the water everywhere. Also, this is something kind of new. It's called Flush Safe. Just a little bit of a teaser for now. I'm testing it. I have been testing it, and I need to talk to the company one more time before I'm willing to kind of explain a little bit more, but that's a really cool product that's about to come out. Working all of that out at the moment, I'm just trying to go through and kind of figure out what exactly my process, if it's going to change any from what we did in the Valor or the Solitude prior to that. I already know I want to change the storage almost completely. It's just not working for me. So I had the bins just kind of right here. You can see the one there. And there's these like long things here. They're very in the way. I didn't realize how in the way they were going to be. So I may get something to kind of put them up above. I'm not really 100% sure what I'm going to do. But that's one of the things I'm doing, looking for a solution. So, all right, let me finish the dump and we'll continue. So I'm headed back inside to work inside a little bit. Like I said, Lauren kind of took off. So one other little tip I have is keep a list on your phone, on a dry erase board, on a piece of paper, however you want to keep a list. Because we have a pretty extensive one for everything that we are wanting to actually do. So like, for instance, ours is, we need to find a spot for the dog stuff that's a little bit better. We want window shades for the entry doors. We need to find a cheap can opener because that was a thing last night. I need to buy more sewer gloves because I didn't realize how low I was when we moved out of the other rig. I want to find a permanent charger and some cabling for the RVs themselves. That way, well, like our internet box and any of that kind of stuff, I can just bring the item. I don't have to worry about hunting down 15 cords for things. Bedside phone watch charger, again, just one less thing I have to worry about packing. I just know it's there. We need to get some toilet cleaner. I want to put some new bed struts on because we put our Brooklyn bedding, RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding mattress in there, which we love, and I wouldn't change for a million things. I do need to get some better struts because we're going to use that area as like a hamper and maybe store some shoes and that kind of stuff. And then I want to get a new Apple TV holder for the bedroom TV. I thought I had one, didn't. And then rubber gasket for a rubber washer, rubber gasket for the black flush. So I need to fix that. Also on that list, that it's not actually on that list, is I want to fix the back grill. That'll be its own thing. I'm going to have to modify it and do some things, but I don't love griddles. I like griddles in moderation, but I'll use a grill way more. And so I kind of want to get rid of the griddle that came with it. Also, and I'll go into more detail, it doesn't slide all the way in because the MORRIDE tray has like a top to it. And for whatever reason, Alliance switched to a different kind of griddle and it doesn't fit great. So you have to actually flip the griddle upside down. Well, if you're into cooking, you know that especially a cast iron griddle, you're just going to season it. And then when you do that, you're literally just rubbing metal on metal. It's going to break something, and it's really bad for the griddle itself. So Alliance, don't use that griddle, at least in this scenario. I'm sure it works great on some rigs, but for this one, not so much. Find something flatter that you can leave in the upright position and slide in, or just go to a grill. To be completely honest, I'd rather have a grill, so that's probably what we're going to go find and install and go from there. So, yeah, also I got to take the mat back in that I forgot about. That's going to do it for our shakedown trip here at Twin Coves in Flower Mound, Texas on Lake Grapevine. if you're in this area, I'm telling you, this is a hidden gem. I love this park, just everything about it, the trails. We were hoping to go take a hike this morning, but the storm probably made it way too muddy. But I mean, literally, look at this site. I mean, it's all concrete, plenty of room between sites, huge concrete pad, fire pit, outdoor grill, and then the water. I mean, we're literally backed up to the water. So some spots are better than others. Like this one's kind of cool because like we have a direct shot. So like if we look straight out our window, we don't really see other RVs. Sometimes there's another RV a little bit too close. So that's kind of one of the downsides. So anyway, that's when you're picking your site, just look at the layout. This is site 10. This is our favorite. This is where we brought the Valor. We actually brought the Solitude to a different site, and now the Delta. So every rig we've had has come here for its shakedown trip. And we've done more trips here, but that's a big one. If we're just looking to camp and get away from the house for a few days, this is where we'll come. So, all right, with that, we will see you guys next week. We're gonna talk a little bit about how we unpack and store the RV once we get back to the house. So if you're a part-timer, make sure and stick around until next week. And if you haven't subscribed, do that, because it'll notify you whenever we do the things. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Mom.